Death.
Wow. Fantastic stuff, folks. Really proud of you all. That was pretty scary, right? But you all came out of it thoroughly entertaining, in my opinion. Well, our first guest for today, you already met them. They are a creative director. Not sure what else that means. Oh, here he is. Please welcome Oleg Gylakan.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, hello at home. How are we doing? Good. It's so good to be here. I'm very excited. I have to pull up my presentation. Give me just one moment. Oh my goodness.
Wow, what country is that accent from?
Oh yeah. We'll get to that.
Great.
So thank you all for having me. I'm very excited to be on the Everything Now show. I have a lot of important information to cover. So hopefully we'll be able to get through all of it. So who am I? What am I doing here? That's probably what you're asking yourself. My name is Oleg Gylakan. I'm the creative director for N.A.H.A.M, right? N.A.H.A.M, are we familiar with N.A.H.A.M? N.A.H.A.M is the National Alliance for the Humans and the Monsters, right? So it's a coalition for the betterment of the humans and the monsters and a better public perception of monsters in the public at large. So that's a lot of words to say. I'm trying to make the monsters and the humans have a better time together, right? Have a better relationship, yeah? So we'll go ahead and introduce you to the team, right? Because we can't do this alone, right? This is a group effort, a global movement, right? And so there are a few members of the N.A.H.A.M teams that are helping me, and I will introduce you to them very quickly. First, we have Jeffrey Snodbugler. Jeffrey Snodbugler, president of N.A.H.A.M, he's the CEO, the founder, the head honcho of the business. Very smart guy, very strong investor, and very passionate about what we are doing. Other people involved in the project, Javed Ayube. Javed. I've not met Javed. Javed works remotely. None of us have actually met Javed yet. Javed is 14 years old, a whiz kid, right? A whiz kid. So smart, these children these days. Very excited to have Javed joining us as the chief financial officer of N.A.H.A.M. Very smart, very good with money. Also on the team.
That's incredible.
Oh, goodness. I always mispronounce this, and I'll do it again. Let me try to do it this time. And he makes fun of me every time I do this. But I hope I'm pronouncing that
That's
right.
just offensive.
I'm so sorry at home if I'm mispronouncing that. But he's a eater of souls, right? So when there are souls to be eaten, or when someone needs to be eating the souls, he is the one who's doing that, and it is a very valuable part of the team. Other people on the team, Godzilla, we know Godzilla, right? Very important that we have gender equality on the board, and so we are very excited to have Godzilla. Not many people knowing that Godzilla is a woman, because Godzilla is very tall and very scary. To some people, they think, oh, that must be a man, right? No, Godzilla is a woman, and we are very excited to have a coalition of both male and female monsters and humans on the board. And so Godzilla is our foreign advisor. We're very excited about that. And of course, there's me, Oleg Gylakan. I'm the creative director of N.A.H.A.M. And so this is the team, right? But what are we doing? And people always are saying to me, Oleg, what are you doing in this? It's a national team, but where are you from? Your accent is crazy. What is this sound that you're making? Where are you from? And to that I always say, where are any of us from, right? The important question is not where are we from, but where are we going, right? What is this journey we are taking? And to that I'll journey into our next slide, right? So what is our goal? What are we trying to do here? Well, we're trying to shape perception from something that looks like this to something that looks... I've gone too far. Thank you for taking me back. So our goal is to take a perception from the public from something on the left, right? The screaming and the yelling and the covering of the eyes when we see the monster. So something more closely to the photo Well, I guess on the right, because the first photo was on the left. So the photo on the right is supposed to represent where we are going, right? A handshake cryptically in some sort of dark park, public place, with a man in a suit. So let's talk about where this history of misunderstanding is coming from, right? Why are humans and monsters so diametrically opposed, right? Where is this aggression coming from? Well, of course, we are familiar with history, the Greeks, the Romans, the Hydra, right? The multi-headed beast. This history of aggression sort of continues into the Middle Ages, right? Yeah. Even into the new era, right? So we are seeing horror movies with monsters attacking people, often a very sexual undertones, right? The monsters are attacking the women are helpless, right? We see this with the swamp monster, we see this with Dracula, we see this with Freddy Krueger, right? So very bad public perception. It's making people afraid of monsters, right? Right, and this is continuing even into today, right? We are seeing this with the Babadook. We are seeing this with The Quiet Place. We are seeing this with It, right? And so again and again, culture is saying the monsters and the humans, they cannot connect, right? They are on two different worlds, right? And they are opposed. And so part of what I'm doing here is to try to bridge this gap, right? And to get rid of these misconceptions, these stereotypes, right? And so what is my job? I'm the creative director. So what does that do? Well, how can we fix this? The first step is to normalize the monsters, right? So part of my job is to create content like The Monsters, right? We know The Monsters. The Monsters is a TV show from the 1940s, the 1960s, 1964 to 1966. And this is a story of a monster family living much the same way that's an American family, right? The father, the mother, the children, all living happily together in one simple place. And American families at home, they see this, they say, oh, they're not so different from you and I, right? They're humanized, right? And so if we move on, we've got other types of content. Of course, the Monster Mash. All of us are familiar with the song, right?
Yeah.
If we could please, Professor, Dr. Teacher, if we could please play the music.
Oh, this is one of my favorites from school.
It caught on in a flash.
They did the mash.
They did the monster mash. The
Right?
zombies were
Okay, so now we are familiar. Now we are remembering
That's
to
a
have
real
fun,
jingle.
right?
the guests.
Thank you, Professor, Dr. Teacher. We don't need that anymore. So the Monster Mash is a very important piece of culture, right? Because the Monster Mash is another step in the right direction. A lot of people don't realize there's some pretty revolutionary language in the Monster Mash. Let's take a closer look at the lyrics, right? So the Monster Mash, right? Early on in the song, we have this lyric. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. Yeah, okay, Dracula and his son. Well, why is that highlighted? Of course, we see that this is again showing that monsters can have family values, right? Traditional family values. It's not just Dracula. It's not just Dracula drinking the blood, right? Dracula has a son. Dracula has a daughter, a family, right? It helps to humanize the monsters. And again, now everything's cool. Drac's part of the band, and my Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant to. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you. Now this is another hidden sort of call to action. Yeah, everything's cool. Drac's part of the band, right? So what is that saying? Well, Dracula is part of the band. Dracula is one of us, right? He's participating in the band the same way that a human would. And so I think that's a very interesting perspective, something that we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah. So let's skip ahead through history. Yeah, see some other examples. The Goonies. We all remember the Goonies, right? The Goonies. This character, Sloth, right? He's very scary, right? But at the end of the movie, what do we think about Sloth? He's a hero, right? We love Sloth. And this is a very important perspective shift, I think, because when we are introduced to the Sloth, the children are frightened. They do not understand him. And Sloth represents sort of a gray area, right? Is he a monster? Is he a human? Is he a monster who looks like a human? Is he a human who is horribly disfigured and ugly? We don't know, but it's not important to the children, right? To the children's innocent eyes, the Sloth is simply another adventurer on the adventure, right? And so this is very important to sort of blur the lines between what is monster, what is human, what are all of us doing on this rock floating through space, right? And so finally, we've reached the modern era, right? A huge production, something that I was intimately involved with, right? The Monsters Inc. So we are all big fans of the Monsters Inc., right? We've all seen the Monsters Inc. This was a very, very important step forward because we explore the world of the monsters beyond the human world, right? We see things from the monster perspective, right? So the monsters aren't just scaring the children or hiding under the bed, but they have normal lives. They're driving buses, they're working in the power plant, they're dating, they're having complex interactions with each other. And this is very important for humanizing the monsters. Unfortunately, later on, we had the follow-up to this movie, which was The Monsters University. I didn't actually work on this project. I was removed from this project. And I think you can see where our interest sort of deviated here. If you take a look at the photo, there's 0 humans. And that's a huge problem, right? Because the whole point of the project is to show that monsters and humans can live together peacefully, and yet in the Monsters University, there are 0 humans, right? And so, of course, we want to normalize the monsters, and it's great to show the monsters going to college and doing things that humans do, but there's no humans, so it's still showing a separation, right? In my opinion, this is a step in the wrong direction, a step backwards. And so there's other content that we can talk about. One specifically that I'd like to cover just before I go is the NCIS. Yeah, we are familiar with the NCIS. This is an interesting subject because many people don't realize that monsters love the NCIS, and we're not entirely sure what it is about the NCIS that monsters are loving. There's no monsters, as far as I know, in the NCIS, but for some reason, the monsters love Agent Tony DiNozzo. They're big fans of Agent Tony DiNozzo. All of my monster friends are constantly asking me, when are we going to get a spin-off with DiNozzo? We love him. We want to see more of him. And so, again, I'm not sure what it is about the NCIS that is so compelling to the monsters, but I think it is worth discussing and looking into and creating more content, perhaps with some monsters, and maybe an NCIS Monsters version, a spin-off. We have NCIS Miami or whatever. Maybe an NCIS in the monster universe. Who knows? I'm not part of Hollywood anymore, but I think this could be something that might be worth looking into. And so that's sort of the gist of my presentation. I'd like to open it up now to questionings and answers. To get some of your perspective, and if you at home have any questions for me, Oleg, about the movement, about N.A.H.A.M or monsters generally, I'd love to answer them.
First of all.
I don't approve.
What is it that you are not approving of?
I think monsters and humans should remain separate at all times. I think for as much as these stereotypes can be harmful, they're also based on a lot of fact. My dad was killed by a monster.
Wow. And before we are at home being angry at him for this perspective, because this is a perspective that I'm hearing a lot, is the fear of the monsters. And it's true, yeah. There are monsters who are eating the humans. There are monsters who are ripping the flesh of the humans. And this is a problem. And I'm not going to deny that problem with you here today. It's a problem, absolutely. But what is the core of this difference? If you could see somebody like me, yeah, I'm clearly not a monster, yeah, I look like a human, yeah, but we take a closer look. What is this? And so now we are curious. What is happening? Is this a human? Is this a monster? Right? Because his head is very tall. His head is taller than it should be, yeah?
Yes.
And so we are saying, what is going on here? Why is his head so tall? And it's because I'm a monster, yeah. And I am not fully a monster. No, I'm a half monster. My mother is a monster. She is made out of slime. And my father is a normal man. And so this is the result. I have a very strange head. But I'm part human, and to that I say, what do you make of me, someone who is half a human and a half a monster? Is there no way that you can find love in your heart for somebody like me?
Absolutely not. I hate your fucking guts, and I wish you were dead.
Wow. Wow. This is the wrong.
This is
right.
I respect your opinion, and I hope that perhaps later down the road we might be able to discuss privately our differences and explore some ways that we can communicate.
The second this stream is over, I'm going to pour a bunch of salt on you and watch you shrivel up.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Well, why
and so
wouldn't
that's
we
an opinion.
get a question from the chat? Let's just kind of. Ground Beans has asked, "What is your favorite monster?" If we're talking about, taking the stigma off of monsters, who's a monster that you think is great?
Yeah, my favorite monster. Yeah, that's a very difficult question, right? Because picking favorites, it is always going to hurt somebody's feelings. Yeah, and I'm friends with a lot of monsters, and to choose one monster in particular would be political in ways that I don't know if I'm completely comfortable with. But some of my favorite monsters, Count Chocula, from the cereal box, Count Chocula. Very scary, very
real?
interesting.
Is he an actual monster?
Count Chocula, very real monster. Sweet guy, very sweet guy, very nice guy.
Is he related to Dracula?
No, that's actually, that's a common misconception, that Count Chocula and Count Dracula. But if you listen closely, it's two different names, right? Count Chocula and Count Dracula, right? So, there goes my accent, right? And so people are saying, what happens to your accent when it's disappearing? Yeah, and so I'll address that now so that it's not a distraction, because I've spent years traveling through Europe, right? So sometimes my accent slips into British. There it is, right? And then it turns back into this sort of Eastern European accent. And that's because I'm traveling all over the world. I'm never stopping, right? Always moving around, always trying to find the next place to push the movement in a way that can represent humans and monsters.
No, I totally get that. Sometimes when I watch the Harry Potter movies, afterwards I say awful instead of awful.
Yeah, that's similar. Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
There's another chat question. I guess this is based on the whole you being half monster. This would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So What a Disaster says, does this org want us to have sex with monsters?
So I'm guessing they're asking about N.A.H.A.M, your organization.
Yeah.
N.A.H.A.M, sex with monsters, and let's go there, right? Let's go there, let's leave no stone unturned, right? No leaf unturned. So sex, it's a natural part of life, and it's a natural part of monster life, and so if a man and a woman, or a monster and a man, or a man and a monster, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or a monster and a monster want to have sex, and they should be able to have sex, right? I mean, this is 2019, and we shouldn't be deciding what people are doing in their bedrooms, and so if a monster and a man and a man and a man and a man and a woman and a woman and a woman and one monster and a monster want to have sex, or any combination of any of those, I say the more the merrier, right? Because we want the little human monster babies. They're so cute, right? That could do a lot, I think, to improve. You see a little monster baby, and you see, he has the cute little human head and the cute little human eyes, but his arms are tentacles, or his feet are little spikes. That might be adorable, and so I'm for that. Yeah, I'm into it.
I have a question. So typically, with kids, just as you're talking about, we tell them to be afraid of the boogeyman, or don't look under your bed like there's a monster. There's lots of these common monster-related warnings and tall tales.
They're all true.
Well, yeah, whatever. Maybe they're true, maybe they're not. I'm not going to make a call. But there's lots of these things that we say to kids. How would you recommend that we adjust our language? Does N.A.H.A.M feel a certain way? Do we want to talk more positively?
It's a good question. Because the children need to be careful, right? There are threats in the world. To your point, yes, there are monsters under your bed sometimes. And I can't deny that. What I would say to your question is, we should focus on all the problems, right? Not just the monster-related problems, the monster under the bed, but perhaps there's a terrorist under your bed, right? And
Okay.
that's a man, right? That's a human. That perhaps Al Qaeda is under your bed, and you didn't even think about it, or ISIS is in your closet, right? And the little children don't even know. They think, the monster from Monsters Inc. is in my closet, when really it is ISIS. Right,
I'm always
and so
worried about
that's a
ISIS.
I
problem
would
that I
rather have
think.
ISIS in my closet than a monster.
That's a problem that I think is not talked about enough with the children. Is you're walking down the street and perhaps there's a stranger, or perhaps there's a boogeyman, right? Or perhaps there's some sort of a terror organization that's out to get you.
So maybe
and these
just
are all
say-
threats that children should be made aware of, right? Not just the monsters, everybody.
So maybe just say there's a stranger under the bed.
Perhaps there's a stranger under the bed. Well, a stranger can be anything, right? A stranger could be a strange monster, or a strange man, or a strange person.
Okay.
There's many threats, and we should address them all equally. That's what I would have to say about that.
Sort
yeah.
of along the same lines as the question I asked, I didn't see there's a question in the chat from Fever Woman. Is there a more correct term we should use instead of monster? And they commented that monster seems like retarded, excuse my language. It could be that kind of a slur or a word that's not considered
Yeah,
correct.
no, and thank you for that question, Fever Woman, because it's an important one that we understand what we are saying monster, right? Because you're right, it does have a negative a sort of negative connotation, right? Like retarded. And so what we're doing when we're trying to make a movie like Monsters Inc. or something is that we're reclaiming that word, right? We're taking that word back. We say, give us that word. You cannot have that word. We're taking it. We're taking the word
I don't
monster
have
and
it.
we're using it
No,
in our film. And you can't have it, right? You haters of monsters. And there's problems with that, because there's still people who are using the monster like they use the other words that aren't so savory, right?
And what if people are like, I'm going to see Monsters Inc. this weekend, like if it's a human,
Yeah.
and you want to reclaim your word, but humans need to like say the title in order to like share with their friends. I feel like there's a dilemma.
Right, yeah, I see what you're saying, is that you don't want to use the word, you want to use it, but in the right context, right? And so, we've explored other options. We've explored perhaps changing it to monster, right, instead of monster.
Oh, that's actually exactly what
with
someone
the
in the chat
with the soft
just brought
A,
up.
yeah. This has mixed results, right? Because some people don't know what you're talking about when you say a monster, right? They say, what is that? A monster? I only know monster. And so this is sort of a linguistic issue that we've run into. But the important thing is not what we call them, but what they are, right? It's not a matter of the words. It's a matter of the people and the monsters and all of us working together to form a cohesive unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Count Chocula was the monster who killed my dad.
Oh, all right. Well,
It wasn't through like murder or anything. It was just cereal. It gave him diabetes.
Oh, so maybe that's like a shared
well,
responsibility.
yeah, that seems like
Well,
maybe.
Ronald McDonald is also responsible for giving my uncle diabetes. I hate Ronald too. I hate clowns just as
Wait,
much as I hate
okay.
monsters.
Is Ronald-
like there's a reason there are monster clowns.
Is
Is
Ronald McDonald a monster?
Or is he just a man
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
no,
clown?
that's actually a common misconception. Yeah, Ronald McDonald actually is not a monster. He's just a fucking creep, right? He's just a fucking creepy man, creepy guy dressed up in makeup, right? So the monsters don't want to claim that. Y'all can have that.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. So is there any other questions from the audience, from the chat that we'd like to cover before I say my
I have a
goodbye?
question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
I
yeah.
guess it's more about like your personal experience being half monster, half human.
Yeah.
What's that like? I mean, I see you have a weird cone head, but like, is there any other things that are part monster, or like, is there things that get in the way of doing your like human activities?
What's your dick like?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Well, it's funny you should ask that. Yeah, there are other parts. It's not just my head. Also, I do have a cone-shaped head, and that is sort of the most defining characteristic. But you're right. My penis does look like the sandworm from Star Wars, right? And that's something that usually I won't say here in public, but it's an important thing. The question to be transparent, right? And so I'll say that I'm proud to have a penis that's shaped like the Star Wars sandworm.
Does it also
it's not
just
a big problem for me.
So in that case, does it also emerge when it's fed?
Yeah, that
sandworm
language
works?
You
is
start with a
Like,
crevasse
there's a
and
hole?
then it just...
Yeah, it's
Like
sort
a
of like
pit?
it's inside of me, right? And so when it's excited or when it sees like there's food coming nearby, it squirms out,
Okay.
right? And so it
I don't know
does a
why I
sniff. It does a sniff. It says,
I don't know why I
and it
asked.
says, "Is this food or is this just the inside of pants?" Because most of the time it's just the inside of my pants, right? But every now and then it comes out. It says, "Hello, hello. Is there something for me out there?"
Does it speak?
No, this is just the voice that I put for my nose. The sandworm,
And what
my
is
sandworm
food?
penis.
What do
Yeah.
you feed?
Yeah. We don't have to talk about that here. Basically, there are, various grapes or lettuce or things that you would feed to a turtle. Those are the things that it seems to like. It's like a leafy green, yeah.
Like roughage?
Like a roughage, yeah, or like a leaves. Things that you would find outside. But sometimes I give it a treat. Chobani yogurt. Do you
That's
know
a treat?
Chobani? Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
treat?
Oh, yeah. When it's been good, we give it the Chobani. Yeah. So these are the realities, right? These are the harsh realities of living a half human and a half monster life. Is that your head is shaped like a cone and your penis is the sandworm from Star Wars. But life is not easy for everyone, right? Everybody is having challenges. Oh, so we don't
I
have
think
to
we should show ban all monsters from flying. I think we should show ban all monsters from flying.
Oh, with
ban all
with
the monsters.
Chobani.
Well, that would be tough because there are some monsters who can fly without a plane, right? So monsters who have it, or
Well,
who
that's
are
not under the
having.
jurisdiction of the TSA, so I don't give a shit about that.
All right. Well,
We have another question about your experience as a half human, half monster.
yeah, shoot. Please go
that
ahead.
is pivoting away from your sandworm penis. Laser Kid 2009 asks, are there any parts of you emotionally that are more monster, or is it just the cone head and your penis?
I said
Yeah.
ding dong.
Yeah, you said ding dong. Let's.
Oh, I'm
dong.
sorry. Is it just the cone head
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
ding
Wow,
dong?
that first of all, who was the one who asked that question? Because wow, that is
Laser Kid 2009.
Laser Kid, wow, thank you, Laser Kid, thank you for that question because that is something that is much more interesting and compelling and deep than the typical questions that I'm receiving because expect it or not, you might not believe it, but most of the questions that I get are about my sandworm penis. When I say sandworm penis, for some reason, every time it's all we can ask about is the sandworm penis and tell us more about the sandworm
And
penis.
it looks like we just got a bunch of new people. So can you explain what you mean by your sandworm?
Right,
Yeah,
so
can you
Penis?
reiterate
Can you
the
just
sandworm penis?
if you're
reiterate?
just joining us, the long story short is my name is Oleg. I'm part of a coalition to join Monsters and Humans. I am part monster and part human, right? The monster parts of me are this crazy cone head, right? You can't quite see it because of the background, but if
Wow.
you see, my head is extremely strange, right? In addition to the cone head, right, I've got a penis that is shaped like a Star Wars sandworm, right? It's got a mouth that opens up, it does a little sniff, and it eats the lettuce and the Chobani yogurt. So now we're all caught up, right? That's the realities that I'm dealing with right now.
Right. And so we just
And
asked
so Laser
you.
Kid, right, Laser Kid, I don't want to forget about your question because I think it's a good one. Yeah, so emotions. My most, I would say, monster-like emotion is that I feel sort of a deep calling when the moon is full, right? And I think this is a feeling that even humans can feel, right? The tides are moving, the moon is full, you feel sort of a calling to bay at the moon, to make a howling noise at the moon. And so this is something that I feel very deeply, and I don't know if it's because my mother's side is monstrous, or perhaps because my father's side has some sort of wolf lineage. But that is a feeling that's very strong for me. When I feel like a monster, I feel like I'm howling at the moon.
What does
So
your
what's-
bay? What does your bay sound like?
Sure, yeah. So because the moon isn't full right now, I won't be able to do a full bay, right?
just, like,
because
if
it's
you could
different.
imagine
But sure, if I could imagine that the moon was full,
moon
I would
is
probably do
here.
something like or something like that.
Also pretty traditional.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Yeah, there's not a lot of deviation from the typical werewolf howl or bay at the moon. But that's sort of what I'm doing when it's a full moon. Is that I'm baying at the moon and I'm calling to the other monsters and the other animals in the universe to say, "Hello, look, it's the moon. The moon is full tonight. Isn't it a beautiful moon?" And that is what we are saying.
Great.
This is why we need to blow up the moon.
Okay, well, we're all sharing our opinions here today, and I think that's important that we're having a dialogue.
I think there's another question in the chat that I find very interesting that I'm wondering too, if it's not impolite to ask, what type of monster was your mother, was it?
Yeah. So to clarify, my mother is a monster, and my father is a normal human, or so he says, right? Because we don't know what he is. He says he's a human, but we're not sure, right? Right? We all know how family can be. No, but he's a human, and my mother is a puddle of slime. Yeah. So she is a slime monster. She lives mainly on the floor. She sort of scuttles about us because she is a puddle. She has a hard time with things like steps. There's a series of tubes in my home with sort of a vacuum suction. So when she wants to go, let's say, from the living room to the bedroom, which is up the stairs, she must scoot her body up to the suction part of a tube, where her entire body is sucked into the tube, up through the system of tubes, and into the bedroom where her and my father, of course, have sex, like any good family should always do.
That is fascinating.
That's wild.
Yes, and so she's a puddle of slime, but she's very beautiful. I don't want anybody at home to have the wrong impression. She is a puddle of slime, but she is a looker, right? Okay, I don't look like this from my father alone, right? There's multiple genes in here making this painting work. So,
Was it the
Mom, if you're
slime?
watching at home, Mom, I love you, and you're a very beautiful puddle of slime.
And the sandworm penis. Sorry to keep bringing this
Yes,
up, but like
yes,
it's
please.
like a mixture of
Right.
the slime genes and the human. Like that's like
It,
a math equation, sort of. that-
Yeah, I'm not a genealogist, right? I'm not a biologist, and so I don't know what is it about my slime puddle mother that is making my penis look like the sandworm from Star Wars, right? I didn't ask for that, right? If I had it my way, I would have a normal penis, right? I think we would all like to have a normal penis. But what does that mean, right? Is my penis really that abnormal because it has giant pincer jaws and a sort of rotating skeletal
Like rows
sort
of
of
teeth?
rows of teeth, yeah, and
Eyes.
scales? Is that so different from a normal penis? I don't think so, right? A normal penis is very strange in its own way.
You need to put all the monsters on an island where they can have all their weird genitalia. And you need to just get people like you away from my children.
Wow,
with
people
your
like
sandworm
me. Wow,
penis.
you people. Is
Oh,
that what you're saying? Well,
speaking-
things are getting quite heated, and I don't mean to make it rude, but to be frank, you remind me of some of the monsters that I know, right? And so perhaps some inward looking is in store for you, my friend.
Look, all I'm going to say is that Godzilla could step on me, but that's all the nice things I have to say about monsters.
Hey, Godzilla is a very nice woman. We don't have to bring I know Godzilla very well. She's on my board, and she would not step on the likes of you, my friend. I'll tell you that much.
A couple people who came in later are asking about, and this is not a community I'm familiar with, but Jupiter Ninja 95 asks, how do you feel about the monster fucker community? Are they just fetishizing monsters, or are they normalizing human-monster relations, which I think they missed some of the pairings that you were talking about that you support fucking?
Very good question. Yeah, and I'm glad you're asking it now because there are some people in the chat who missed this. Could you what was the name again?
It was Jupiter Ninja 95.
Jupiter Ninja 95. Jupiter Ninja 95. Thank you. That's a very good question about the monster fuckers, right? Because we hear the monster fuckers and we say, "Oh, what is this?" It's so explicit. We can't have the children around the monster fuckers because the fucker is in the name, right? We hear the fucker and we say, "Oh no." Oh no, they are the fuckers. But really, the monster fuckers are a sex-positive group, right? They just want to promote sexual enjoyment between the monsters and the humans. And if you weren't here before, I'm a big believer in the man and the man and the woman and the man and the woman and the woman and the monster and the man and the man and the monster and the woman and the monster and the monster and the monster. Any type of relationship between those people or monsters is completely acceptable to me. And so I am a complete supporter of the monster fucker movement, right? Perhaps a different name so that we can put it in schools, yeah? So when we go to the school, we don't have to say, okay, children, here comes the monster fuckers, right? Because some of the children, they plug their ears when they hear the monster fuckers. Perhaps the monster lovers would be a better name.
Makers.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important, right? That the children are learning about these things, right?
What do you think we should refer to them as? You were just saying maybe monster lovers
Monster bangers.
Monster bangers, yeah. Monster bangers is interesting, yeah, because it has sort of like how you might describe a good song, right? You say, this song is a banger, or I'm going to bang this monster. Wow.
Right.
The monster,
wow, this monster is a banger. I want to bang this monster.
Boys, monster sexies.
Yeah, and these are all good ideas. And if you are having more of them, I would say you should be reaching out to the monster fuckers because they are all ears, as far as I know. They are always looking for.
In some cases,
most of them,
yeah.
yes, and some of them are literally all ears. Yes, some of them are made of ears. And so that is making them very good at the listening, right? Very good at the listening. The monsters that are made of all ears. So yes, I would say your input will be heard if you decide to tell them those things.
Great.
I think that's about it.
Okay, well, great. Thank you all. I appreciate you having me. I hope that in the future you are being more kind to your monster friends and that you spread the message. Right? We are all part of the movement. Thank you. And, thank you all.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you again to Oleg Gylakan. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Uh-oh. Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today. If you're just joining us, my name is Dr. Teacher. I am the host of Everything Now. We're an infotainment show where we're learning about themes every week. This week the theme is monsters. Now, before we reach our next presenter, we're going to do a little bit of a transitional bumper here. We've got some trivia for you regarding monsters. Now, here I'm going to show you guys a clip of a very classic film. This is Mulholland Drive, made by David Lynch, a very legendary scene outside of a Winkies, where actor Patrick Fischler is approaching some sort of unknowable terror. Now, David Lynch, the director of this film, did not know exactly what the monster would look like at first. So, to get Patrick's reaction, he simply showed him a picture of a spooky spider, which then prompted this reaction. That's all natural. He really did faint there, and they had to stop production for about 3 weeks until he was able to wake up. Damn shame, but you know what? That's movies for you. Well, our next guest over here is a self-help expert and part of quite a legendary lineage, I must say. This is Wiley.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Wow. Before I really get any further with any of my presentation and the wisdom that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today, I just have to say good job. Like, good job to everyone and to Dr. Teacher. This is so great. This show you're doing, you are doing such a good job. And it's so wonderful that you figured out how to do all of this and you're making it happen. You're clearly all go-getters, and I'm so proud of you. And I just wanted to take this moment to say that because I thought it'd be very cool for you guys to hear that from me and for me to say that to you. So Okay, and
Thanks.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent job. You guys are all so smart and talented. Good job. Okay, so let's bring up my presentation wherever. Here we go. Oh, there it is. Hello. Now, don't worry. Oops, wrong way. This is just a slideshow for those of you watching at home and those of you here with me. This is not, there's no rip in space-time. There's not a big scary magic box next to me. They've used computers and buttons and all kinds of technology to make this slideshow appear next to me. So don't be alarmed. It's going to change a few times, sort of like turning the pages of a book. Okay? So just be ready. There we go. See, it's going to happen like that a few times, so don't get scared. My name is Wiley, in case that doesn't ring a bell for you, which that expression means it sounds familiar. So if that doesn't sound familiar to you, I am the daughter of the publisher of the famous For Dummies book series. I come from a long line of people who have made these incredible self-help books for people. And yes, you may recognize this logo. Everyone, does this look familiar to you? Have you seen this on bookshelves before?
That's
We
the,
love this
For
guy.
Dummies guy.
Well, that's my dad. That is my
Whoa.
father.
Your father is the dummy?
That's him. See, there's a picture of him
Oh.
there.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Wow,
god.
the
He
resemblance
has
is
such
striking.
beautiful
Yeah,
eyes.
and so he
Oh,
put
the
himself on the book.
resemblance. Oh, my God.
And also, again, don't be scared. This is just a picture of him. He isn't in the studio, trapped inside of a box. This is just a picture. But he has put himself on the covers, and we're all very proud of the legacy he's created for our family. You can go ahead to the next slide, and you can see
Oh my god.
we're
Wow,
so
yeah.
proud of the work he's been doing for the For Dummies book series. Great. Okay, so you'll be excited to hear that I have followed in the family business. I help demystify the world for all of you helpless little dummies and stupids out there. My dad always used to tell me that, there's so many dummies out there, and for them, walking around in the regular world is overwhelming, and they get so much information they don't understand. And it's our family's noble legacy to help untangle that scary web of words and facts and numbers for them, because it's easy for us, but it's not easy for anyone else, for the dummies. So I specialize, though. I'm not just a clone of my dad. I specialize in fostering creativity and art in the non-smarts, which I like to refer to my line of work as incredibly inspiring, because it's a lot like trying to get someone who is not naturally creative or artistic to be artistic and creative is a lot like trying to grow, I don't know, a garden out of dry dirt that is like just dust, and there's no water or soil in there anywhere. It's very hard. Oh, one moment, Dr. Teacher.
While we're waiting for this to work, I just have a question. Where'd you get this shirt?
This shirt?
Yeah, it looks great.
I got it in Maui.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like this little stand next to the ocean, and this guy said mahalo, and he was selling a bunch of shirts.
I'll be sure to check it out.
Okay. Hello? Can you all hear this? I'm hearing that the sound was... Oh! Here we go. Great. Okay. Well, I'm so sorry about the lack of sound right there for a moment. I'm sorry I've stolen your mic, Oleg.
Oh, yeah, no problem. It's fine. You can have it. It's better that you have the mics than me at this point, right?
That's right.
I agree.
Okay, well, we don't need that from the peanut gallery.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to just kind of deal with this sound for a moment. Are we, Dr. Teacher, are we good to go for the...
Yeah, I would just, while we're trying to figure out the
Yeah.
audio, we can keep going.
Great. Okay, so here's the good news about this whole situation. You are not smart or talented, but I am. And I am willing to help you and give my expertise to you to help you navigate this world just as easily as I do, with little to no effort. So you're probably wondering how this all relates to monsters. Well, I'm ready to answer that question. Monsters are a subject I like to focus on a lot with people of lower IQ because monsters are very advanced. They are not real, or at least until today, it was my assumption that they weren't real. But they are fantastical, regardless of whether or not they're real. So they're very hard to imagine if you don't have any creative instincts. If you are not creative and you try to think of a monster, you're probably just thinking of a horse, is the reality. Because there's just not a lot of tools that you're working with to get to a more fantastical conclusion than that. Now, when I imagine a monster, it's actually very easy to do. I can just close my eyes and I think of a sort of a smoky, egg-shaped being with 2 arms and 4 legs, 1 eye, and when it opens its mouth, it sounds like the Big Ben clock. And I just did that right now without even thinking about it, which is... Oh, thank you. I think I've got a new mic. Can we, in the chat, let me know if you can hear my lesson? Sound off before I continue. To help test the mic, I'll do an impression of the sound that the monster that I just imagined makes. I would imagine that about the stroke of 4, it would go bong, bong.
So saying the mic is still not working. And so we're trying to figure it out. And thank you, Chad, for being patient with us.
Sounds good over here, says Lilo and Stitch.
Is the mic working?
It's fixed?
It's fixed. They're saying it's fixed.
Not good, says
Not
Ground
good,
Beans.
so
Okay, I'm going to
it's-
wait until I get
We're
more
getting
than one.
mixed, reviews.
It looks like we're good. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to do a little bit more of that impression. So at the stroke of 5, perhaps, it would be bong, 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 bong.
There we go, and now we're having a
Bong.
working mic. All right.
Yes.
That's very good. Good job, TV show.
Okay, I'm getting mixed reviews, but it looks like it's good. Okay, so as I said, for many people that are normal dummies, when they try to think of a monster, they just think of a horse. It's very sad, but for me, I am very able to imagine monsters. And I've boiled it down for you into a simple formula anyone can follow so that you too at home can imagine monsters and draw them and create them and tell stories about them just like I can. Okay? And that formula is called too long, too strong, or too many. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I know that's a lot of words, and you're probably only about halfway through reading all of that, and you're already getting confused, like, what does that mean? What's going on? But the great news is that I'm going to actually walk through it with you. I'm going to do a demonstration right now today, and we're going to imagine some monsters together. And so by the end of this, together, all of us will have imagined about 3 or 4 monsters using my too long, too strong, too many tactic. So I'm going to get some tools, get excited, and you guys can take a minute to kind of prepare yourself because we are going to be thinking and creating in a moment. So just kind of rev up your brains and start stretching or something, okay? So I'll be right back. You guys stretch out your brains, maybe trying to start imagining a monster.
Right, and my brain is already stretched because my head is so strangely shaped, so that's easy for me.
Oh.
I have this very strange egg-shaped head. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm very excited. What is gonna happen now?
Mine almost looks like that, but like it's just normal under.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's just a beanie that kind of sticks up. It's like yours looks flat, when you have a hat on, but mine looks like, but it's like we're opposites, but like the same.
Yeah, we're not so different, you and I. It's almost like monsters and humans aren't different at all, right?
Yeah, except for the penis thing.
Right, well.
I mean, my penis does have a sandworm's texture, but it's not like an actual sandworm.
Wow.
Right, and it's looking like the presentation is time to start.
All right. So, too long, too strong, too many. All right. So, as you can see, I'm going to be creating monsters with you today on this paper. As I said, I am an art and creativity specialist, so I'm going to make it happen right in front of you. We're going to start with number 1, too long. And for any of these monster creations, you need to start with a base creature or animal. And for instance, for too long, we will choose one part of that creature to make too long. Oh, is the mic out
Oh
yet?
no, there's no volume again.
Nope. Can you hear me again? Nope. Okay. All right. Here I am. We can just do a little. Okay.
Hold on.
One moment, please. Technical difficulties. But I'll explain how the process works. Too long, too strong, too many. You take a base creature because most of you are only able to, as I said, imagine a horse or perhaps a lizard is a sort of thing. Hello? Yep. Okay. Okay, we're back for good. Too long, too strong, too many. We're going to start with a base animal that you can imagine because I like to work with the tools that you guys already have at your disposal and then raise them up into something extraordinary. So I'm going to ask the chat and also the panel here if they want to suggest for our first monster too long. We're going to think of a base animal and then together we're going to choose one part of it to make too long, and you'll watch and see that it turns into a monster just like that. So in the chat or on our panel here, we want to start thinking about what is our base. We don't have to get crazy for this part.
A frog. Aiden,
frog.
Aiden in the chat, Aiden Wood
Okay,
says
a frog.
a frog is the
Frog.
suggestion.
So I'm going to write that down. Frog. And what part of it, guys, are we going to make too long? Now, I want to caution that a frog's tongue is already pretty long.
That's
So
true.
we're going to want to go
right.
with a different part of the
Lifespan.
frog. Lifespan? That's a bit hard to... That's
Like a
little
very old
advanced.
frog.
Like a very old
I would be
frog.
very
The
scared of
frog
an
is
old frog.
Like a very old
frog
frog.
is
Okay, a frog
extremely
that's much
old.
older than the frog that you would expect to see.
Yeah.
Eyes. They're saying
A lot
the
of people
chat
are
is
saying
saying
eyes.
eyes, and that is an interesting answer to me to have very long eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. So we're going to do eyes, and I think we might also make it too old. We'll see.
You can do both.
Yes, a very old frog with very long eyes.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to start with the eyes because that's going to be kind of, the key part there. So I'm just going to make the shape of the side of its head.
And it is a mystery what she is drawing.
We have one eye.
Oh.
That is long.
Let me come around here so you can see. There we go.
And that is looking longer than a normal frog's eye
Yeah.
to me.
It also looked like it's a little bloodshot. Maybe smoked marijuana or something.
Perhaps. I'm just going for realism here.
Got it,
because
yeah.
That's part of imagination.
We just stayed up all night watching movies.
Yeah.
You got those capillaries in there.
And the wrinkles are making the frog look old too.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to incorporate both notes here. And here we go. Here comes the typical features of the frog.
Oh, and those are his little feet. And the chat is asking, Jupiter Ninja 95 is asking, can we give the frog a little goatee?
We can't.
Is
Wow,
there a
look
way
at
to
you
put
guys go. That's not part of the too long, too strong, too many formula, but I think it is important when you feel creativity inside of you, because that's not naturally there. If you feel an unusual thought, or if you want to put a feature on something that would normally have that feature, that is creativity right there, and you want to follow that because it's rare for people like you guys. So I say yes. Let's put a goatee on the frog.
Maybe since his like lifespan is so long, he's
Like
got
a-
like an old man beard.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, Sparky Sparkles is saying, what if the goatee is too long?
Yes.
And so that's an interesting
You
idea.
are learning so well right now. Okay, so we're going to do a little...
And is a goatee just what's that? Like an old Asian man would have it? It's like
a Fu Manchu?
Fu Manchu, yeah. What if the frog had a Fu Manchu? That would be monstrous.
So, we've got a little goatee that sort of started as a normal goatee, but has since
That's way too long.
become
that is a
just
long
so
goatee.
long. And I'm going to make sure he has top eyelids, too.
That's important. Maybe his eyes wouldn't be so red if he had eyelids.
So there we go. This is kind of a scary monster frog that you wouldn't normally see in the wild. Am I right, you guys?
Yeah, and that is not a frog that I have seen in the wild ever in my life.
And also, I'm going to open his mouth a little bit and show that he has just really gums in there because he's too old.
Also, Lilo and Stitch 193 said, "What if the frog doesn't sit on lily pads, but he sits on an ice cream sundae? That'd be pretty monstrous."
Sure. That is, again, you are following that creative urge because, and maybe you just didn't know this to begin with, but that's not usually what a frog sits on. And after this, I am going to move on to Too Strong because
Right,
we
yes,
have a
this
couple
is
other
just
things to get
step
through.
one, right?
This is just step one, but you guys are killing it.
Gotta see that sundae though.
yeah,
so
the
we gotta
Sunday seems
see
important.
this sundae, this little kind of melting. It's like about 3 different balls of ice cream here. And then here's the bowl that they're in. And then we can put a cherry on top of the frog.
Oh wow.
So you know it's a sundae.
That is looking good.
And here's a spoon.
Yeah, it's a monster frog for sure.
And what a disaster in the chat is asking, what if the frog is also a deadbeat father
I think
and
we
his
should probably
children
move on
view
to
him
Too
as a
Strong.
monster? I agree, but I think maybe to what a disaster, think about that in your head and
Think
put
about
that
that in
in your own picture of the frog.
I guess. Thank you. So that's frog. We started with merely a frog. Now this is a frog monster.
Or like monster.
We can do that.
Monster, if we're trying to be more progressive.
I will
And
not.
for whoever it was that asked about the absentee father, yeah, just imagine in your head that this frog is sitting on a Sunday instead of going to a soccer game.
And Aidan Wood is saying the sundae looks like enormous testicles that are melting. And so that's an interesting way to look at it too, and also very monstrous.
Yeah.
That's another great sign of budding creativity, is being able to look at something that is clearly one thing and see it as something else entirely. Your brain is making connections, and that is so good. Like, it's sort of like when you're hungry and you look at your friend, and instead of your friend, it's a big old leg of chicken, like in the movies. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the second
Great.
step, which is, we already did too long, so we're gonna do too strong. So again, chat and panel, we're gonna kind of, have a little powwow about what base creature we want to start with.
I think we had a suggestion for
People,
Giraffe.
Giraffe,
they were
yeah.
nice with
Earlier in
giraffe.
the chat.
Laser Kid 2009 suggested giraffe.
Giraffe,
Okay,
yeah.
giraffe, I like that. So And then while I write this down, let's think about what part of the giraffe we want to make too strong.
Too strong.
Oh, the neck, easy. This giraffe needs to have a thick neck.
Or really big pecs. Like pectoral muscles.
Yeah,
like
this giraffe needs to be
like
yoked.
huge pecs.
Okay.
Let's see what the chat's saying.
Giraffe, butterfly, that's
Neck,
super strong.
nose.
Neck,
Oh yeah,
nose.
that's interesting if we were to combine two animals and put the giraffe and the butterfly into the same animal.
That's a challenge.
But we got a strong tongue. That's a suggestion. A bong neck. Oh, a giraffe with tons of abs on the neck.
Oh
Giraffe
yeah,
with a
that's
strong
interesting.
attitude. I like that. The
Okay,
attitude,
so what
much
do we
like the
think?
deadbeat
What do you
dad
guys
thing.
think?
I'm liking
here.
the abs on the neck. I
Yeah.
think that's an interesting idea.
Six-pack neck.
Okay.
Six-pack neck.
So this is a giraffe butterfly, and it's going to be too strong in the neck. Okay?
And perhaps it's a single mother too.
And perhaps it's a single mother. Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to kind of free ball this one.
And we can't be forgetting that the giraffe is also a butterfly.
Of course.
Mhm.
I wouldn't dream of it. So what I'm doing right now, in case I forgot to explain this before, is I'm drawing on a piece of paper. So I'm just using my mind to remember what a giraffe looks like.
It's crazy that giraffes and butterflies already both have antennas.
Well, yes, something like that, yes.
Yeah, I forgot that giraffes have antennas, but you're right. What is that?
I think it's some sort
Or
of
is it like
Sort
a
of
horn?
a residual horn.
FM radio.
In the chat, if you are familiar, why do giraffes have antennas and what do they do?
Actually, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I want to keep the mystery alive.
Oh, that neck is buff.
Great cheese on that neck.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So we've got a strong neck going.
Sparky Sparkles says it's so they can commune with their home planet.
Okay. You asked for a strong neck.
Wow, that's strong.
Here it is. Is there do we want to make any of the legs or anything strong while I'm down here?
Someone suggested instead of spots, it's Mickey Mouse heads.
That's guys, you are doing so great, but I do want to caution you because you're not experienced.
Whoa. What was that?
There is a grand festival happening just next door, so you might hear the announcer every now and again. I do want to caution you for people who are new with their imagination. Sometimes when you open that door, it's just flung open and there's a lot of things coming through and maybe not all of them have merit, but some of them do. So I encourage you to throw out everything you're thinking. But for instance, Mickey Mouse spots, if you think about it, are not very scary. So we want to kind of keep it to scary ideas.
Yeah, there's a good idea in the chat from user What a Disaster. They're saying that the legs should be made out of machine guns, having machine gun legs. That sounds pretty scary.
That is very scary. I can definitely add some guns to the giraffe here. I'm just going to take care of the butterfly wings really quick.
Skull spots. Whereas a suggestion, skulls as spots. That'd be scarier than Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty terrifying.
That's monstrous.
You don't want to see that coming down the street at you.
I don't want to see Oleg coming down the street at me either, but he's sitting next to me.
Well, we can't help that, can we? We are both stuck here on the panel, so we might as well make the best of it, right? And try to be friends.
Now, I don't want him to be too scary, so I think the back legs will be normal legs.
Right, yeah, maybe
That's
one
good.
of the legs can be very strong.
That is the rule that I'm trying to teach, so I guess I have to do that.
Like a big buff bicep for a leg.
I'm gonna do like a
Yeah,
strong
like a better
flexing-
gun.
Like a big
like a
flexing
flexing
arm.
arm.
like that.
Like
and then
a-
I'll just kind of work off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to use my arm as a model
Do
for
a
what a
strong
strong,
example.
what a big strong arm would look like, that's sort of what it would look like on an animal. It would look like my big strong arm.
Wow, that's strong.
There you go.
Wow, that looks fucking crazy. Jesus Christ, if I saw that in a dark alleyway, I would run away.
And that is the reaction we're looking for.
Yeah, I wouldn't get
This one's
near
hand.
that fucking. Oh, is that another
I've
hand?
seen some fucked up shit in my life, but Jesus, that takes a cake. Yikes.
Wait, so if this was a monster that you'd have to advocate for, what would you say? Like, how would you get people to relate with this thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. This one seems kind of like a no-hoper for me. If I had to defend this monster, I would say, sorry, you're on your own because you are a fucking scary example of a being. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Its legs are fucking guns. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I'm adding some of those skull spots that you
Whoa.
asked for. Real quick. Because I don't want to restrict you guys when I've just told you to be so creative.
Right, and they're saying the tail should be a snake. And if we could make the tail be a snake, that would be very cool.
You guys are doing so well. Here
And a
it
cobra.
comes.
And specifically, it's a cobra. So if the tail could be the type of snake that is a
So
cobra.
is that one of the wide necked ones?
Yeah, it's like the.
That's what I thought.
Like a cobra.
It's a really good Stallone movie.
Yeah, if the tail could be the Stallone movie, the cobra. That would be cool too. But you know, whatever.
Wow. This thing is fucking.
Jesus
insane.
Christ, take it away. I think we have to move on because this is just really too much for me here.
Actually, this is the first monster I've seen that I actually kind of
God.
like.
I think that
Jesus.
thing would kill your dad any day.
That's okay. He was also a deadbeat.
We're just-
And it's my understanding that there's still one step left after this. Yeah?
Yes, and you know I was planning on at the end doing one that was too long, too strong, and too many. But it seems like we might not need to do that because you guys are
Holy
killing it.
shit.
So just to review, this was supposed to be an example of adding one strong feature to a normal creature to make it a monster. And we started with the normal being of a giraffe butterfly. And now, with its strong neck, its skull spots, its machine gun feet, its arm, legs, and its cobra tail, it has become
It probably has a hard time breathing with like that many muscles around his neck.
Yeah, it's
I don't
very
think the
Giraffe
giraffe head is
butterfly
real though. I bet
monster.
that's just for show to scare away predators.
Oh, you don't think the head
the
is even the real
consciousness
head?
is in the cobra.
Oh.
Oh yeah, like the head of the giraffe is actually the tail, and the real head is the cobra.
It's
The
a
cobra's
decoy
head.
head.
Yeah,
Wow,
I'm gonna
evolution is really amazing.
nature's fucking crazy, man.
And now we move to my final step of 3. Oh,
Whoa.
You can set that down right there.
the monster was too strong. Okay.
So too long, too strong, and what was the third one?
The third one is too many. So if you take one feature of a normal creature and multiply it, imagine, I mean, I guess we'll get to that right now, but it instantly becomes a lot scarier than the creature initially was. So let's think of a creature to start with.
All right, what we got, chat? We got a penguin.
Penguin. Aiden
Penguin.
Wood is saying penguin.
What else we
Okay.
got? A penguin.
Penguin, chicken with too many
Chicken
eggs.
with too many eggs.
Penguins are basically chickens. It's fine.
Yeah, penguin and a chicken are very similar.
They're the chicken of the
Ooh,
Arctic.
do a human. I like that idea. A human.
Would do a human.
Humans are creatures.
Perhaps we should do another combo animal.
A penguin and a human.
Oh. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? I guess we could do a penguin and a human.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, so
Isn't
half
that just
human,
a person
half
wearing
penguin.
a tux?
Oh, that could
Okay.
Or perhaps a penguin with like human legs or
That's
something.
exactly what I
be. Yeah,
was
like a penguin with like a dick.
Yeah, like a penguin with
Too
a
many
giant
dicks.
penis.
I'm gonna do
No,
a
that was
penguin.
the first one.
All right, yeah, it couldn't be too long. Too many is the steps that we're on now. Great, so we're doing a penguin and a human.
Penguin human.
Great.
And what do we want too many of?
Yeah, what's too many? Jeff?
Anxiety.
Oh, too
That
much
we can-
anxiety.
Yes, a very anxious penguin human.
Too many beaks?
Too many beaks.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Too many beaks.
Let's start
Too many
with that.
dicks. Too many beaks.
Okay. Here
It's a problem we all
go
face.
with that.
Yeah, Beaks is getting a lot of play in the chat. And Wings. And also, yeah, what else do penguins have? Or don't
Or
have?
humans. Or humans.
Or humans, yeah. This is half human, so...
Too
I'm
many
gonna say
chain
too many,
wallets.
Too many toes.
Oh, too many toes.
I would not want to see someone with too many toes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a many-toed penguin human would be very scary.
Too many pants.
I would say more than one is too many.
And
too many
venomous
stone
prongs,
ones.
and that is a very scary idea. Prongs that is venomous, says user Jupiter Ninja.
I was looking mostly penguin so far.
Well, we
Well,
haven't
wait
gotten
till
to
we
legs.
get to the legs.
Oh. Buckle up.
Okay, so, more or less a penguin.
Uh-huh.
I can color it in later. So now let's make it a man.
I like what a disaster suggestion. Too many children.
Great, yeah, and look at his little penguin knees, and they're like a man's knees.
Yeah.
The little
Whoa.
knee dimples are a good touch.
Those are some big feet.
You know
Oh,
what they
maybe
say
he's
about
got like
big
those
feet?
like disco high tops on.
Yeah.
We can just give him a little.
Like the disco high tops. Put a little heel on there.
And
there
so
we
we
go.
can assume
yeah.
that there are many toes in the
That's
shoes
good.
too.
Wow. This is a foxy penguin.
Is this
Oh.
what
Whoa!
Saved
you,
it.
what you wanted? Here he is.
That
or
is
she.
looking very scary already, and perhaps we should add some more beaks now.
Yeah.
Not in the place where you think, though.
Yeah, where would you least expect
You
a
got to
beak
put him
to
on the
be?
human legs. That's where the beak should go.
Oh, and there's
beak.
an arm beak. That's good. And a shoulder beak.
Yep. Here's one right in the center of this.
And a beak coming out of the tummy.
Oh, that one's talking. What's it saying, chat? Maybe we could get like a
too
little
many
speech-
tattoos.
speech
I'm liking that answer. Too many tattoos. Is there such a thing?
So we've got just entirely too many beaks.
And user ground bean is saying that there should be too much hairs on the legs.
Ooh,
that
yeah.
the legs should be very hairy.
Yeah.
And I'm liking that answer.
There we go.
Wow. It's way too hairy.
This is like reverse Pictionary.
That's nice.
I don't think that's too hairy though. Am I wrong in saying that?
No,
that's
that seems
needs to
like
be
a normal
hairier.
amount of hairy.
We're gonna have little patches where there's a lot more hair.
Sparky Sparkles suggested that one of the beaks is screaming, "I love all my children."
Yes, and so parenting is a very important
Screaming
theme.
what? Excuse me.
Screaming how much that penguin loves its children.
Okay. No suggestion is too crazy because this is just the beginning of
And-
your.
And user ground beans is saying that there should be even more hair and that the hair should be flowing.
Perhaps from the knee.
And so we're going to have a flowing hair coming from the knee.
Got those Fabio knees.
There you go. Good job.
Oh, we got the same number of legs, but too many knees.
That's a very interesting one. From commenter Jupiter Ninja 95, who's saying same number of legs but too many knees. And how can we do this?
It might be a little difficult, but maybe every place there's a little patch of hair. You can imagine there's also a buried knee.
And more butts is saying what a
We still
disaster.
have to determine how much
Yeah, there's 0 butts. in this
this
Yes.
beak loves its children.
Right, yes.
one. Yeah, that's true.
And Fever Woman is saying that the word bubble should be hairy. That it should be a hairy word bubble.
That's
So can we
so
do that?
creative. We can.
Oh wow. That's a great idea, and thank you for that, Fever Woman.
I hope now you're all realizing why I'm so anti-monster. Because look at this.
I think on the contrary.
I like this one more than the last one.
Yeah, and this is less off-putting than the butterfly giraffe.
Okay, I love my kids. How much does it love its kids?
Yeah, how much does this penguin human love its
Or
kids?
more than what?
Maybe like a reasonable amount.
I love my kids a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too overprotective.
There's gonna
Yeah.
be a little death.
A healthy amount.
That's good.
See
In
if
hindsight,
they
that
are
would
agreeing.
have fit better.
That's good.
I love my kids a reasonable amount. Okay. It seems like there's still so much we could do here, according to the chat. But do we agree that this is a monster now?
Yes.
Yeah, that's so good. And can we please very quickly run through all of the monsters that we've seen so far? Because they're so beautiful and terrifying, and I'd
Of
love
course.
to remember them.
I will
have
never
to say,
forget.
guys, I really underestimated what you can do. But this is about the level of sophistication I expected from beginners. So I want you to know that as you refine, it'll become even greater.
Yes, and user Aiden Wood is saying dicks, 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 which is a very interesting, and thank you for that comment and that suggestion.
And that's so sweet. I
Aiden.
do
Good
try
input.
and stay away from, more profane material in my how-to explanations because I want them to be applicable to any member of the family. So if someone's uncomfortable with genitalia, I try to stay away from that. However, if you're at home and you're drawing, let's say, a horse, and you just want it to have so many dicks, dicks everywhere, dicks sprouting from all over, you can do that.
Thank you for permission.
Great, and thank you for that advice.
So the first one that we made
Oh yeah, the
together
frog.
Oh yes.
was the frog
Almost forgot
monster.
about
Like so long ago.
Yes, it feels like an entire lifetime ago that we were looking at the frog monster.
Can we go over the features? Can we go over the features?
Yeah,
like I've
and-
lost innocence
And honestly,
since then.
looking at this now, we had no idea what we were capable of. But it was a strong start. We had the frog with incredibly long eyes. We had a goatee that was also too long. So actually impressive use of the actual lesson I was trying to teach, which was make it too long.
Yeah.
He's also on a sundae, or sitting on top of a sundae. You can see because of the cherry on top and because of the sundae below him. However you want to see the sundae. Chat.
He's also real fucking old.
He's also very old. He has no gums. And if I remember correctly, he's an absentee father.
Yeah.
So that's our frog monster. The next that we had.
Right, now this one is wild.
It's I think
Wow.
what's really impressive is we sort of went from beginner to
Whoa.
advanced really quickly here. We have giraffe butterfly monster. And what's interesting about this one is we started with a giraffe butterfly as our base reality.
Which is already a whole lot.
Which is a lot. We applied my lesson. We made its neck too strong. And then we sort of got a little, we went off book. We went off script. And in addition, the strong neck inspired a few more innovations. Because the neck was so strong, we felt maybe guns for legs.
Yeah.
We felt perhaps something scarier than spots, little skulls.
It's also the too many tattoos that we suggested later. We already got
Oh
some
yeah,
tattoos.
someone
right there.
said too many tattoos for the penguin, but we got that.
Yeah.
Check
Yeah,
off
you
that
got
box.
that. And you did get the back legs being forearms, as well as the tail being a cobra, prompting a debate about which end, in fact, is driving the monster.
Yeah,
Which
and then we
I-
decided that the snake head is the real head and the giraffe head is a decoy head.
And in the chat, they're suggesting that we do kiss, kill, keep with the images. And so for the people at home who don't know what kiss, kill, keep is, it's a similar game to, you are familiar with Fuck, Marry, Kill? Yeah? And so
Yeah.
it's a similar game. Oh my, it seems. And so we'll be deciding between the pictures which of the pictures we should kill, and which of the pictures we should kiss, and which of the pictures we should keep.
Well, to do that, we need to become acquainted with our final creature, which is the penguin human monster. Penguin, I would say maybe 50 to 70% penguin, and then all human from the pelvic arch down. We have, it's too hairy. The too many that we applied to this was too many hairs overall, everywhere, including on the speech bubble that it is speaking with.
It
or
keeps
that
his
it's,
top
that's
half
extra beak is
shaved,
speaking
though.
with. So it has too many beaks, too many hairs, as well as a variety of knees. Hidden below its tufts of hair on its legs. And it is also saying that it loves its kids a reasonable amount. So chat, now that we've been reacquainted with all three monsters, let's say which one do we want to kiss, which one do we want to kill, and which one do we want to keep?
First, can I just say that I'm very happy we're playing this game because personally, when people start typing in chat KKK, I get really worried, and this is a much better direction.
Yeah.
Right, yes, and it's important that we make that distinction, right? Because this is a fun childhood game, right? KKK, Kiss, Kill, Keep, and it's very different from the Ku Klux Klan, right? It's
almost
very different.
entirely different.
You could say
I'm
it's the
very happy for
opposite
that.
in many
you could
ways.
say it's the opposite.
I
Really
wonder-
dodged a bullet there.
I used to watch this show. I wonder if they still have the bumper thing, the title thing. I wonder if that's still a thing. But if it's not, just say in the chat, kiss, kill, keep.
Yeah, so if you're in the chat, tell us if there's a specific creatures that you'd like to kiss or specific creatures that you'd like to kill or keep, and we'll take that into consideration.
You guys are going to have to let me know what's in the majority.
Yeah, should we go and say ours first?
Right, yes, and we'll share our personal opinions.
Can we make a poll and do it that way?
We're working on it, but in the meantime, I'll go first. Personally, I would marry this penguin right here, right? Because the penguin looks like it can be a provider. Yeah, it's got a good sense of family, right?
So
And
that's
so
a
because
keep?
it's loving its children a reasonable amount, right? And so I would marry the penguin. And then it's very clear that I would fuck the giraffe butterfly, right? Because look at its beautiful abs for neck. It is a very, very sexy, very, very scary, but very sexy.
It's really fuckable.
And so I would fuck that animal. I would definitely fuck that animal. And unfortunately, that means that I will have to kiss the old frog with the very long eyes and the giant testicles.
It's a Sunday.
So that is, those are my answers. What about you, fellow panelists?
If I had my way, they'd all be
I have a
dead.
feeling I know how this is.
Oh.
But I am going to say, for the sake of conversation and the panel and the show, I would say I would definitely kill the frog because it's old and it's lived a long life.
That's sort of a benevolent.
That's a good point,
That's like a
yeah.
utilitarian answer almost.
Yeah, I would definitely keep the giraffe around because I really want to get down to the bottom of the mystery of which head is real. And then obviously got to kiss the penguin, and I think I'd kiss every mouth individually.
All right, and I was forgetting that it was kiss and not fuck when I was giving my answer, but I suppose I will only kiss the giraffe.
I think
and butterfly, and
I
we'll
would-
see where
in
it
many
goes from there.
situations, a kiss can lead to
To more.
more.
Oh. Hell yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I can go. Jesus, thing's wild. I'd take that frog to Bangtown for sure. Also, Fever Woman brought up a good point that like if you kiss it, it could turn into a prince or a princess. So.
And it may taste of ice cream.
Also true.
Or testicles.
Or
I
testicles,
go out on a
which are
limb and
both
say that if you kiss
interesting
this
tastes.
frog, it would
Both very
turn
sweet.
into something.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
I don't know about a prince.
I'd kill the penguin. Yeah, I just don't want to do it with the kids. Yeah. And then I'd keep the giraffe because, like, that's way better than any guard dog you could get. Like, if that thing's just hanging out in your house, like, nobody's going to rob anything. They're going to come in and they're probably going to die because that thing will murder it. If it's loyal, I'm sure I could get on it and ride it around.
Well, this is great. What is the chat consensus, sort
And
of?
the chat is saying, well, Fever Woman is saying that you should kiss the penguin and kill the frog and keep the gun legs. And Laser Kid is saying we should kill the penguin and kiss the frog and keep the giraffe. And user Jupiter Ninja is saying kiss the giraffe, keep the frog, and kill Manguin. Oh, Manguin, I like that name.
Look at you flexing that nascent creative muscle.
So there's a lot of different answers, and they're all interesting. But it's seeming like a lot of people are saying that they want to either kiss the frog or kill the frog. A lot of people are saying they want to keep the giraffe.
Okay, so let's keep the giraffe. Let's
All right.
say we'll get
You couldn't kill the giraffe if you tried. That's
That's
part of
true.
the issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we cannot kill the giraffe, even if we wanted to.
Yeah, it'd be hard to kill that thing. All right, so we're keeping
Giraffe's
giraffe.
gonna
Great.
hang out and watch.
That's good.
So now it's between penguin man. What did they say?
A manguin.
Manguin.
And the frog to kill.
Right, so who are we kissing and who are we killing here?
I will say that a frog is typically associated with kissing.
That's right, and that's a good point.
What a disaster says I want to get into a group situation with all of them.
You want to be in a monster
Very
polycule?
A monster mash, so to speak.
And Laser Kid is saying that we should kill the manguin.
I agree.
And I'm thinking that might be the correct answer.
Okay, so now, as I've said, I'm a person of creativity. I foster creativity, and I don't like, killing is not, that's sort of a destruction. But
Oh,
I
they're
think,
saying think about the children, though.
well,
The
I think
penguin
a
has
common
children.
a lot of
ground that
stakes.
we can reach here is if we can all think of a way to kill it, and I will draw that on here as well.
Oh.
And we can
yeah,
sort
how
of
should we
create a-
kill the manguin?
Heartbreak.
Ooh.
Yes, the penguin must die, chat. So now we must decide how the penguin is dying.
His children should betray him and stab him with little knives.
Yes, and then
That
the
would be
children are
easy.
happy that he is dying. And perhaps if they wanted to kill him all along, then they aren't sad or grieving when he's gone.
I mean, clearly the penguin didn't love the kids that much. It's just
Yeah,
a
he did
reasonable
say a
amount.
reasonable amount. Killed by his children?
Killed by his children seems to be very popular.
Okay, strangled from
many
too many.
hugs from his
Okay,
kids.
okay. Okay. So it sounds like we're gonna have the kids kill the.
I'm interested
Manguin.
to see what the kids look like.
That's a good point. They can't simply be penguins or humans.
And
Okay.
perhaps they are like very tiny and you can't see them very clearly because they are so far away.
And they're
Right.
moving
Maybe
so
they're
fast.
Yeah, and they're
the
moving very
knives.
quickly, so they are blurred.
Almost a blur. Yeah.
It's okay. We can have them kind of biting and.
Hey, you're the
Yeah.
artist, so whatever you think is best. But tiny, blurry little children sounds very easy.
We're gonna.
Ground
I
Bean
saw
says I
someone
think the
say-
kids are just beaks.
Oh yeah. They
Oh,
could
we got
be-
an arm around the neck.
They
That's good.
reproduce by budding.
Well, I saw someone say that he was strangled by too many hugs.
That's good.
So this is.
Whoa. A beak with biceps.
Wow, so the children are giant beaks, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
With arms that are using to be strangling.
Oh, he's got hair. Yeah, of course he's got hair. Oh, that one's biting the foot.
Yep.
Those are expensive shoes.
And they do have little feet.
They almost look like Spy. Is that the comic that?
Yeah, Spy
Spy
versus
versus
Spy.
Spy,
Spy versus
yeah.
Spy. Are they beaks?
Yeah.
The spies?
Spy versus Spy. Are they
Yeah,
just
they
beaks?
could be. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you might be right.
They're both the last living children of the Manguin, and it's like Highlander. Whichever one is the last gets all the power.
Yeah.
By all the power, I mean those great shoes.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yes, and those are sick kicks, you know?
I would kill my brother for
Fresh
those.
kicks.
Yeah. Oh, there's right in the eye.
Right in the
Oh.
eye, and that's gotta hurt.
Wow.
Okay. So you can see what's happening here. They're just going to town, and I think we
a lot of
understand how
kids.
that ends. Maybe there's one bursting out of his chest.
Oh, like Alien.
I would assume the open one is the one that's bursting out of his chest.
That just
No, that one's
belongs
just,
to
that's
him.
Oh,
the
that
one
just belongs to
That's the
him?
one that goes there.
Okay.
This is not supposed to be here. This guy. Okay. You get the idea. So we've killed it.
And that's great, and there goes the penguin, and all that is left is to kissing the frog.
Yeah, I had to kiss that thing.
Okay.
Might feel nice with like lips to gums.
Yeah.
Great. So I guess I kiss the frog now?
Do frogs have teeth normally?
Not this one. Okay.
Look, in the spirit of unity, if you
Would
want,
anyone like to set the mood with...
I'll kiss the frog.
Oh, and we're having a volunteer on the panelist.
You would like to kiss the frog?
I'll kiss the frog.
All right. I think that's great.
I'll do it. I'll take this one for the team.
And what a beautiful moment.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Hey,
Wow.
getting what you paid for.
Okay. Great. That was too long, too strong, too many. You can check out the other How To for Dummies books that I am writing and will be publishing, and one about the Too Long, Too Strong method will be coming out on shelves soon. Although after this, I am thinking I might need to add 6 to 8 new chapters, and we'll see about that. Do I dare open it for questions to the audience, or should we? I think we've had a lot of dialogue already.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Vape N.A.H.A.M 3111 says, "Is the guy that hates monsters turning into a monster banger?" Question mark.
I'm gonna say
An
no.
evolution here.
I think
The night's still young. We'll see.
anyone can be whatever they want as long as they have instructions, is my philosophy. So I think we've just proven that today. We've gotten him a step closer to respecting monsters, and in fact,
And also, if you missed earlier, we decided to call, instead of monster fuckers, the monster fucker community, we decided to call them monster bangers. That's what
monster bangers. Yeah.
monster bangers.
Right, yeah, and that's important distinction.
Great.
I actually do have a quick question.
Yeah.
Does your company take requests for how-to books? Because I'm a dummy. I'm a huge idiot.
Oh, I know.
And I need something for monster killing.
Well, we of course do accept suggestions. On our website, there is a portal where you can submit your dummy idea. It's sort of a help center where you can just type in "help, I don't know how to do this."
I just need to know what kind of bullets to use, honestly.
Well, it looks like the best method, from what we've learned from this segment, is to turn their children against them.
Yeah, see, I'm more of a creativity expert. Again, I don't like to be a part of destroying things. I like to be a part of the creation process. So perhaps use your creative mindset that we've developed with the Too Long, Too Strong, Too Many tactic. Get the ideas flowing and use that to create a vision or a dream in your head of how you might hurt someone, although that's not something I condone. But maybe just do it in your head and maybe never do it in real life ever at all. Maybe just create that space in your mind where you can do
or
that.
draw it out.
Or draw it out.
Like
and
if you're
then,
trying to see the
and then
penises
kind of,
with the horses.
you know, kiss the frog, as it were. Like, draw it and then get it out.
Great.
Okay. I see a question. Do all the monsters you draw speak English? That's
question.
fascinating. I think if you'll recall, I once imagined a monster and it didn't speak English at all. It simply went bong, 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 bong. So that's up to you. Whether you want to imagine that this guy speaks English or makes bong noises.
Bong is also an English word, so.
Right. Okay, so I think that's everything.
And thank you, Lily. That was very great.
You guys are full of surprises.
Fantastic stuff, Lily. Just great interaction with the audience. Everyone got their creativity going. I'm in love with how this has gone. Before we have our final guest, I'll just do one more little piece of monster trivia for you all. Again, thank you for watching Everything Now. I'm Dr. Teacher. Look at me right there. And I'm so glad we're learning about monsters today. Now, a little fun fact, a little piece of trivia here. The most devious monster of them all, I'm sure you all know this maybe, is man.
Wow. Oh.
But if that means man is a monster, it means I hate everyone, I guess.
Wow, and
I guess I really need to examine my own beliefs.
It's an intense line of thinking there, Mike. Well, we're going to hopefully round this very intense question out with our final presentation from our lovely guest over here. You all have heard him talk already. Let's see a little bit about his work. We, of course, have... what is it? Clarence. Clarence McConnell.
Thank you, Brain Guy. Great to be here. What's up, everyone? If you got alcohol, drink it now. You know, like, I feel like we haven't incorporated that a lot in the show, and yeah, I've been hitting the flask under the desk over there. I've been learning a lot of fucking shit. Like I am involved in like a monster-related profession. I didn't even know most of the stuff. Like, you know, I didn't even know human monster crossover could exist. The sandworm penis was crazy. And yeah, you're a great drawer artist.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm Clarence. I am a monster photographer. So I take different photographs of monsters. And yeah, let's get into it. Roll the thing, brain boy. Boom. Oh.
Here it comes.
Boom. This is the end of my presentation, so sneak peek at what's to come. But we're going to rewind that back
It's
to
sort of
the
like
start.
one of those movies where you see the end and
Yeah.
then
It's like Memento, but with PowerPoint.
Yeah, I feel
I love
like I'm
Mentos.
watching Memento.
right now I
Strawberry
feel like
Mentos are really good.
So, Capturing the Beast, featuring renowned monster photographer myself, Clarence McConnell.
Fascinating.
I know you guys are probably wondering, like, who is this guy? He doesn't look very experienced, but just to warm you up, boom. I'm the fucking best. And honestly, I'm not trying to, like, have a hot head or anything, but, you know, I got the facts to back it up. I'm going to show you a couple examples of, you know, why I'm the best monster photographer out there. So yeah, next slide. I don't know if you guys heard of the Kabadook 2013, very famous photo. You can see it here. This was a photo that I took.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
It was
wow.
of the Babadook in Cabo, surfing it up. You know, a lot of people can't even get that close to the Babadook, especially not when the Babadook's having fun. So check it out. Let's zoom in a little bit. Look at that guy.
Oh,
So
he's
what's up,
definitely
baby?
hanging
wow,
loose.
yeah, and
He's
that
hanging
is a
loose.
Babadook.
Yeah, and he like, you know, he gets into it. I mean, he hangs zero because he's like not really having any legs. He's got like kind of a weird
He just like fades away.
torso thing that he's going, but he surfs up, you know.
Wow.
But yeah. So that's part of my work. Next slide.
Wow.
Oh, achievement medal for civilian service, Clarence Mikado. Where could that come from? Well, I was actually really integral into helping bust Shrek for his public urination scandal.
Oh.
This
Oh,
is a
wow.
photo I took of Shrek pissing on a playground at night. Just happened to be shooting, pictures of bugs. I also think bugs are monsters. But then I turned around, and then cha-ching, gold mine. Shrek just freaking whizzing all over there. I'm glad he didn't piss on the slide, though.
I think we're all glad for that.
But yeah, he's a sex offender now. Next slide. $700.
Oh.
What's this doing here? What's this for? This is how much TMZ paid me to leak Frankenstein's sex tape. Boom.
Wow, and there he is.
This is me. I didn't strictly photograph this. This is more of a kind of infiltrating and getting footage, acquiring footage to leak to TMZ. And that black box is, of course, Frank's dong, covered up by the TMZ logo. But yeah, so as you can see, you know, I'm pretty big into monster photography, monster capturing, monster following. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal, but don't want to get too out of myself. Why I'm here today is I have something to share with you guys. It's a monster that no one has been able to photograph before. No one's been able to properly track, to even get close to.
Maybe
So
Bigfoot?
dangerous. One of the most dangerous monsters.
The abominable
Maybe
snowman.
it's
Is it-
JLD.
the large.
And this is none other
I don't think I know this.
than Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh.
Yes. Don't get too spooked. I'm sorry if I spooked you.
Ah,
You could take a shot. Ease that stress. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You know, it's like, oh, how could something with such a beautiful, ripe exterior be such a monster on the inside? It actually dates back to Jewish folklore. Next slide. The Broxa. It's a bird,
Wow.
a bird bat type spirit
Is that
that was
her?
known to come in and steal milk from goats and drink the blood of children during the night. And some believe that Julia is part Broxa. And it lives inside of her waiting to be unleashed. It's a very vicious demon. And so the whole through line here, I guess I'm trying to say, is like, why do we have to worry about Julia? You know, she's in shows that I like. She's not
Yeah.
gonna hurt me.
Why do we need to worry about her?
But if you notice, she's been collecting something, huh? What has she been collecting? What has she been winning? Orbs of Chaos. Next slide. The Orbs of Chaos. Now listen. You might like, whoa, this guy's jumping ship. I thought he was cool. I thought he drank. I do. But I'm also very knowledgeable on monster lore, on what monsters are up to. And the Orbs of Chaos they're more dangerous than nuclear warheads, all right? If these go into the wrong hands, it's worse than any Transformers plot you could ever think of, okay? And Julia, JLD right now, has 8. And I'm talking about the ones that she personally earned. 11 if you're counting, you know, things that she was involved in her cabal of monsters that dance around and
Oh my God.
grab boards.
Kramer.
But she has 8. And if she gets 9, all hell could break loose. She could disintegrate you. She'd look at you, she'd look at you and she'd be like, "Hey, are you a fan?" What would you say?
I can really relate to Elaine. I loved your.
Boom! You're Ash now.
Oh
9
my
orbs
God.
of chaos. You're Ash now.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like Ash even just sitting here.
You feel the orbs. They permeate. There's an energy, an orb energy. And when they get closer together, that energy starts to harness. You know when people say Mercury is in retrograde? That shit's bullshit. It's when the chaos orbs are close together. Shit starts to fuck up. Wow. Your computer doesn't save when you're like editing the sweet music video for your friend Brian. But yeah. Anyway, I've been going deep. I've been using my skills in photography to track her down and figure out what she's up to. Next slide. I went to a forest in North Scotland, and you might look at this photo and you might be like, oh, there's just a bunch of trees. But look closer. Enhance. There she is.
Oh wow, and I didn't even see her.
Yeah.
I
it
just
might be hard to
gasped
see her
because
right
it was
now.
a beautiful forest.
It might be hard to see her right now, but I put this big red arrow. If you can see that red,
Okay.
the red arrow.
Oh
is not part of
yeah.
Now I
At
see
first
it.
I thought I was seeing her, but now I see that she is next to the red
the
arrow.
arrow is pointing to JLD.
That's a tactic I use with dummies a lot, so that's very successful, is to put a big red arrow.
Yeah, and as you can see, she's drinking her chaos fluid in her cup, and she's probably on her way to an orb. I tried to follow her, but she vanished before I could see if she had acquired one.
And
What I
you
mean
were
is-
thinking that there was an orb in the woods or something?
Huh?
In
You-
the woods
you-
of northern Scotland?
There was an orb there?
They could be anywhere.
Ah.
Yeah.
But usually are they anywhere in particular?
There's been a lot in LA. But an unusual amount
Fascinating.
in Los Angeles.
It's a big city.
Yeah, no, it's big.
I guess it increases the chances that there would be an orb there because there's so many people.
That's true too. That's a good point. You guys are smart. But yeah, I stayed on her trail until she disappeared, and then I went to this lake. Next slide. That's it's a picture that I forgot I put on there. Next.
Wow, yeah, and
next.
look at those
No,
chaos
next,
orbs,
yeah.
right?
No, she's a horrible monster beast. Next. Thank you,
Wow.
Rainman.
How did
So here we are. I'm
this
chilling
is a
at this
beautiful
lake.
picture.
I like to lap water up, sort of like a dog. I don't know. It's just like how I like to drink. I feel like pouring water in your mouth is a little too. I'm getting off track. I was at this lake lapping up some water, and I look, and I look, and I look up. I give you a. So I have like a rope tied around me to a rock, so I can really lean in, like if you were like scaling a building after a bank heist. And I lean in, and I'm like.
So you weren't there to take photos.
What?
You weren't there to take photos?
This was post forest shot, so this
Oh,
guy was like,
okay.
I'm gonna go get a refreshment.
Got it.
I was like, I look up, I'm like, what the? I'm like, what the? And I take out, I'm like, oh, it's showtime, baby.
Wait, and one more time, could you show me what you were like? Because I didn't see it the first
Oh,
time.
yeah, I got you. So there's remember, I'm suspended by a rope here.
Right, yeah.
Showtime. And then snap. That's that picture. Now you're like, oh, it's just a lake, dude. It's a beautiful photo, by the way, I know. But enhance. Oh, yeah, just a log. What are you doing? Enhance again. Boom.
Oh, and there are the
There she
red
is.
arrows, and that is
JLD.
helpful.
Are those?
Yeah. No, and look, so it's not the log. Look at where the red arrows are pointing. That's where JLD is.
Oh, and now I am seeing JLD.
But is she holding something?
She's holding, that's a good observation. She's holding 2 orbs of chaos.
Wow, and I did not even see that, and now
You can
I'm
see.
seeing it, and my mind is blown.
You can see them glisten. And she's fucking happy. You know, she's got all her chaos going. I was getting pretty bad vibes already, so I'm like, there must be orbs around, you know?
Right.
There must be orbs around. I was feeling pretty wacky. It's like, there must be. I dropped a joint in the lake. I'm like, there's got to be orbs around here. Next slide. Just a closer look at what the orbs look like. So you can identify them. So if you see them in the wild, you snatch them and you return them to me. I have a proper safe storage to put them in. It's got kind of this magnetized field around it, so no chaos escapes.
You know, you're not going to believe it.
Huh?
I actually saw a bunch of these in a store on the Sunset Strip. They were just like a pile of them.
On the Sunset Strip?
Yeah.
A pile of orbs?
Yeah, just a
How
lot
were
of
you
orbs
feeling?
inside a store. They were just selling them.
No, but how were you feeling? Were you feeling off?
I dropped so many joints, dude. It was ridiculous.
Dude. Oh. Sunset. Do you know
Yeah.
what the store's name was?
LA Gifts, something like
LA
that.
Gifts.
It's probably like an anagram for Julia Louis-Dreyfus' God or something like that.
Yeah.
Some Illuminati trick.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go to that store after. But guys, you don't understand. If JLD acquires the 9th orb, it's not only gonna be the end for us. She will transform into a hideous, disgusting beast that will rule over Earth. It will. Next slide. Next slide.
That
I
doesn't
changed
look
my
so
mind.
bad.
That's the monster I want to
Next
kiss.
slide. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Here it is.
Oh.
Nope. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now
Yeah,
that's a
she's not-
great
she's
example.
scary. She's not.
That's a great example
attractive.
right there of too many
And too long.
and too long.
That's this really scary monster. Oh wait, I saw JLD at a grocery store in Los Angeles yesterday. I told her how cool it was to meet her in person, but I didn't want to bother her. It said, "Oh, like you're doing now?" I was taken aback, and all I could say was, "Huh?" But she kept cutting me off and going, "Huh, huh, huh," continuing with my shopping, and I heard her chuckle as I walked off. When I came to
Oh, we can
gone,
keep going.
she hears us. She's making the messages disappear. But Fever Woman, I hear you. If you ever see JLD in person, scream. Just be like, "Veep's not that great," and then run the other way. But yeah, this is the hellish beast that could come to fruition. I mean, if this happens, like, you know, she's peeling the earth open like an orange, and that, you know, that hot core magma is gonna
Whoa.
drip all over the sides like a sundae, like hot fudge on a sundae, and it's gonna create mini Hawaiis around. And it's gonna be really cool for like a couple weeks because everybody's gonna be going to these new Hawaiis. It's like everyone has an island now because, like, you know, the magma like mixes with it's like, you know, a lot of island. There's gonna be a lot of people on island time. But then soon after, it's gonna melt over the entire ocean, and we won't have any water. And it'll be like it'll turn into from like island time to like game over time. And like, you know, when the water runs out, like we can drink alcohol probably for a little longer, but like then that's gonna run out, and then we'll probably die of dehydration or something. But yeah, so this is dire. This is serious. Yeah, we need to figure out a way to stop her. I'm gonna keep tracking her, but I just wanted to share my findings. And this is what you saw in the beginning. But we'll bookend this with, boom. Any questions?
Wow, yeah. And before we jump into questions, there were a couple of anecdotes about JDL from the chat. JLD, my apologies, that I wanted to cover. The first was from Jupiter Ninja, who said, let me see if I can, oh, it's gone, hello, here it is. Jupiter Ninja said, I saw JLD in a Denny's parking lot, and her shoes were hoof cozies. So that is interesting. And then Fever Woman says, I took a Polaroid of JLD at a party in '98, and it printed out a Hellfire Red. And so that is interesting.
It's
and
a
then
very specific Pantone
You gotta have a
color.
very low exposure when taking photos of JLD, because it will there will be red flares all up in it. I've also done a lot of color correcting to my photos, so I've gotten it back to like what the natural color would look like. But if I showed you the negatives, like, it would just be, like a red layer over the entire thing.
Wow.
And so that is explaining the experience of you, Fever Woman. And then Sparky Sparkles is asking or saying, I shook JLD's hand once and I had a pentagram carved into my palm.
After the
well,
handshake.
it's actually not clear. It just says, and I had a pentagon carved into my palm.
Yeah.
So that could mean the pentagon was already there. Pentagram, sorry. Pentagon is just a
Pentagon
shape.
would be pretty
that's a different
benign.
thing.
That's more benign, but still weird, right? If you had a pentagon
weird.
carved into your
I mean,
into
I
your
have an
hand.
irrational fear of shapes, so
Right.
So that'd be
If
bad
you have
for you.
anything carved into your palm, that's strange. But I will
Yeah.
concede that a pentagram is more concerning than a pentagon.
And we also do concede based on the construction of the sentence. We don't know if the pentagram is related to or even happened during the handshake.
Right,
with
it could have been there
Julie.
already. But the implication is that after shaking the hand, the pentagram was there. So,
Pentagon could have been involved too. Who knows?
That could have been part of the.
I don't trust the military-industrial complex.
The books, emerging. We could pull up that picture again. Do you have that picture on hand? The Jewish folklore demon that I was speaking of. The Brooksa.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot of this related to Satan, and it could be related to pentagram being seared in. Also, if anybody owns goats, and has like been in a close vicinity of JLD, like to their goats, your goat's milk was probably depleted.
That explains it.
and now we are having some questions from the chat. User LaserKid2009 is asking, how many orbs are in your safe?
How many orbs?
Yes.
Have you?
Oh.
Do you have a
great
safe
question.
full of orbs?
Yeah, I do, with the magnetic field, so it keeps the chaos energy in.
And how many orbs are in there?
I don't know if I can put a number on it. I have all of Alan Alda's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's cleaned out now. Last time I saw him, he was like a withered old potato sack doing a podcast or something.
Is Alan Alda also a monster?
Is he a monster as well?
Or would
I
he-
haven't confirmed.
Okay.
He seemed pretty confused when I was taking all of them. Seemed to be more concerned about his merits in, the performances he put on. But yeah, I can't confirm if he knows even what they are.
Do you have any of Allison Janney's?
I have one of Allison's. It's hard. It's like they keep it locked up in a safe.
Right.
So I've cracked a few safes, but yeah, it's tough.
Can you use any of them to kill monsters? Any chance?
Great question. You can really only harness the chaos if you have a demon inside of you.
What about a personal demon?
A personal demon?
Yeah, like alcoholism.
Like an assistant demon, like a demon that it like schedules your meetings for you.
Sure.
Maybe.
Okay.
And user Sparky Sparkles is asking, how do I protect myself from JLD in the future?
Great question. Yeah. So people are scared. People are worried. Of course, if she gets her hands on the 9th orb, there's no protecting. The Earth's gonna get ripped open like an orange, and hot magma is gonna be spewing out. So I think for right now, anything that you can do to stop watching Veep, stop watching past episodes of Seinfeld. Who knows if that could randomly get another orb of chaos at some time. They might change it. Those shows are getting pretty stale. They might have to jump through some more hoops to get more viewers involved. Bring back some old shows. Be like, oh, these are in the ring now. And yeah, wear a lot of garlic.
And speaking of old shows, user Lilo and Stitch is asking, I heard JLD, I can't read it.
I heard JLD was taught about the chaos, orbs from Larry David on set during Seinfeld filming, and also carrying the demonic ID and name. I'm not sure.
The LD.
Oh yes, because
is in
Larry
both Larry
David.
Davis.
Oh, I see. So they. Okay.
And JLD.
So I think they're insinuating that
LD is
Larry
a cursed
David.
pairing of letters.
You guys are already connecting the yarn without even getting too deep into it. You know, it's like the pieces are right here. Larry David is also a Bruxa. He's also a demon. And the LD, that's also a signifier.
Crazy.
Lee Daniels.
Laserdisc.
What?
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc. Bruxa.
Wow.
How do I protect my goats from
That is
JLD?
very crazy.
How do I protect my goats from JLD? Because I want to keep all the milk for myself.
I mean, you could just like cork them. Cork
Okay.
them up. JLD is hard with,
Fine motor
she
skills.
doesn't carry around like a wine opener or anything. It'd be hard to get a cork out of those goat nipples.
So would you say that the onus for protecting the rest of the world is on television producers and developers to not make any prestige television for Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
I mean, you could say that, but I think they're all in on it.
Oh
I
wow!
didn't
So
even
you're
think
saying
of
that
that.
all of Hollywood is in on this, and this is going to a question from user Ground Beans, who is asking, who else is in the cabal?
Oh yeah, is Kramer, is Jerry himself,
Kramer's actually a really good guy.
perhaps Newman?
What?
Wait, are you saying Kramer's a character, or Kramer's a man who used the N-word profusely in the comedy bit? Is he a good man?
Some, like, he has a patchy, past, but like he's fighting for the good side.
What is that guy's name again? Michael something?
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards, yeah. He really used that N-word.
He actually
He
went.
really
to my
went
high
for it.
school.
A real Hulk Hogan, if you will.
Kramer's a character, though. He's funny. When he would open the
Bursting
door,
in.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Most of the industry is wrapped up in the promise that they'll get a lot of these Hawaiis around, and they want to really party it up on island time during Mai Tais.
But okay, so they want to party it up on island time, knowing that it will only last briefly.
they don't know that.
Oh, so they're kept in the
JLD's going
dark.
in saying like, hey, I have a way to make a bunch of Hawaiis.
But she's not telling them the whole story. Wow,
That
this is
magma's not gonna
crazy.
stop coming. And when it does,
The floor is
all the
lava.
water will drain, and then we'll have to drink alcohol for at least 5 weeks. And then after that, God only knows, we'll probably die of like a headache or something.
And here's an interesting question from user Selvin, who is asking, what I want to know is if you saw Shrek's dong, and is it longer than Frankenstein's? So
Great
is
question.
Shrek's dong longer than Frankenstein's? Great question. Thank you, Selvin.
Yeah, I mean Frank has a big dong. It was kind of weirdly lit for Shrek's, but I mean I'd say that I have a bigger penis than Shrek does, if that helps.
And that is helpful for me, and I'll also say that I know Frank because I'm a half monster, and we actually belong to the same gym. And so Frank and I are seeing each other's penises quite frequently, and he's making comments about my penis, who's looking like a sandworm from Star Wars, and his penis is very large, and so I don't doubt what you're saying.
And your penis is trying to like sniff around.
It's
his.
sniffing around, and it's looking for greens and Chobani yogurt.
Yeah, and he's a green dude, so that's probably dangerous when
Confusing.
he's like swinging that stuff around, and you got your thingy looking for roughage.
That's right.
Some unintentional sounding going on.
Yeah.
And so there's another point in the chat from user Fever Woman who is saying the Jewish Defense League, JDL, is a Jewish far-right religious political organization in the United States whose stated goal is to protect the Jews from anti-Semitism at whatever means necessary. And so that is, that's another point.
Yes, and Jupiter Ninja 95 is kind of jumping off that and asking if we can clarify that this is not a Jewish thing.
Yes, it seems that many of these Jews are involved in this chaos or cabal, and so can we clarify if that has anything to do with
address
Yeah,
anything?
let's
that?
not pull a Michael Richards here.
Yeah. So actually, the JDL is actually an organization that is using their acronym to weaken JLD's powers. When you misorganize the letters, it's like saying he who must not be named instead of saying Voldemort.
Right.
Right.
So they're actually
So JDL is like
heroes.
is almost like a superhero group. Like if you think of like a Suicide Squad or a Marvel, but with like older Jewish men.
Right, so the Jewish Defense League is sort of like a Suicide Squad. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Right.
But like
yeah.
good guys, not like the bad guys that they're rounding up.
so more
Right.
like the Avengers or the Justice League.
Like the Avengers, but a bunch of older Jewish men.
The Jewish.
And to be clear,
Justice
there's no
Defense League.
real connection between the Jews and the monsters and the Chaos Orbs. These are just sort of coincidences of naming.
I think the Jews were the first to discover the Broksa. That's how it was brought up.
so that's why they
into-
know
That was
so
brought
much.
up into their folklore, the Jewish folklore.
Ah,
That's
and
why-
this is where the connections are coming together.
Yeah, the actually Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Larry David are actually not Jewish because they're demons.
Great
So
point.
they're posing as Jewish people and
Is
using
Julia?
that.
Is she looks, well, I shouldn't say that, but she seems Jewish.
According to her Wikipedia, her father came from a Jewish family, but
Yeah.
her mother is not Jewish.
That's true, I
But
guess.
that's all hearsay because she's a Broksa, a demon.
All right. So
So I feel like we're tiptoeing around some very shaky issues here of walking on eggshells a bit. But I can appreciate what you're saying about the dangers of these orbs. And we had a question earlier about the orbs. I forget exactly who. Here it is. LaserKid 2009 earlier asked, does the power magnify when the orbs are close together? And when you add a new orb to the safe, do you have to open the safe and add another orb? Would the power turn you to dust?
Excellent question. So great. So yes, to clarify the first part, yes, when they get closer, their power intensifies, and their the wideness, I guess, of this sphere of energy expands. So when I open my safe, it's magnetized. So that's why kind of what like keeps polarizes it and keeps the energies in. So when I go in, I have to wear this big magnet. If you've ever seen like Looney Tunes or anything like that, like the big like red with like the silver tips at the end. Like I'm going in like this. And I usually have it like wrapped around me because I keep a lot of ropes around because I usually have to tie it to a rock if I want to lap up, the water. But I tie the magnet to me and I walk up. So if like the safe's like, say these are the orbs,
those are
and
the
I'm
orbs.
like, I have to strap it on over here because there's a little bit more room. I got a lot of like shelves and stuff over here, so I can't put the magnet, but I put it on. And sometimes it gets stuck and you gotta you do the combo. And then you open it. And then you just point the magnet in. And take the new orb. And I take the magnet off. And then I'll probably like, make a gin and tonic or something.
Great, and that was very informative and interesting for us.
Great.
And so we have a few more questions, but it's almost time for the questions to be over. So I'll ask a few questions here from the chat. I'll throw a few out at once, and you can answer the ones that you feel ready to answer.
Sort of a lightning
Yeah,
round.
lightning round, if you will. So from user Die Selvin, this guy is a renowned photographer, but how can we trust him? His theories on orbs of chaos. And a follow-up question from Fever Woman: can the orbs be stacked?
Both great questions. How can you trust me? I mean, I've shown you my certificate.
That is true.
From the the U.S. Army, which I know can't trust them, but they're powerful. So it's like if they would entrust me with something, then maybe you should entrust me with something else. Also, if you ever want to come over and kick back and get faded, I could strap a magnet on you and you could just like walk up and take a peek. But yeah, I can't accommodate everyone because I live in a studio apartment. So just like one at a time, maybe two actually. Two people could come. And are they stackable? No, they're not stackable. Yeah.
And is it true that they come in many shapes and sizes? Or is it just one sort of
The
statue?
orbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes in all shapes and sizes. There's different types of orbs. There's like orbs of sloth, which are like ones that they have at those events that are like both TV and film. They look kind of like even more of an orby than the other thing. And then there's the orbs of poontang, which are the ones that look like little guys.
Okay.
And so not really orb shapes, that one.
No,
And
those are like sex
Special.
energies,
Oh.
libidos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, orb is just like a catch-all term for anything that is dangerous and used by actors to rule the world.
Well, if you had like the right glasses or goggles to view the energies around them, all of them would be orbs.
Okay.
But they're more totems that hold the energies that are circles and are orbic.
great, and I think that's very
I think
good.
that's great.
That was a great place to end it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Wow.
What a fantastic show. I want to thank all of our guests as well as our guest panelist, Mike. In fact, I'd like to bring them all up to the stage so we can determine what we learned today about monsters.
Well, guys.
We
Shouldn't
Fear.
Monsters.
We shouldn't fear monsters.
We should a little bit.
Thank you, thank you.
Well.
That's it for everything now this week, folks. Please join us next Sunday, and we'll learn about something else completely different. Have a good night. Hope your brain is full of knowledge.